What is up? How's it going, man?
Good. How you doing?
Doing good. Excited.
Ooh.
And it is 8:30. I am going to invite our guest in. I know Zeke is on his way. And we can start the show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Hanging with the Friends. We got myself, Mr. Kerosene, we got Ruben, and we got our very special guest that's joining us right now.
Hi.
Emily Whitehurst, everybody.
Hey.
Hi.
Nice to meet
Hello,
you.
hello.
Nice to meet you too.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Welcome to Hanging with the Friends.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for coming on. I'm really excited to have you on. I just want to say I have a long history of listening to your music, and I was actually right before the show re-listening to, I believe the album is called Way to Go, which was released in 2015, and that's your current band, Survival Guide.
Yes. Thanks
Very
for listening.
Awesome. The song Prohibition, that's one of those songs where I'm like, man, I wish I wrote that.
Yeah.
Just amazing. So thank you for joining us. We're very excited. I know Zeke Zero is trying to get in here. I believe he was the one that probably reached out to you to be a guest. So
yeah, he did.
Yeah, he's a stand-up guy, and I'm sure he's really bummed right now that he's not in here.
Yeah.
Oh, is he not coming at all, or?
He is. He's having difficulties right now, like trying to connect.
Okay.
I could see that. I could see like his picture, and then it'll disappear. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll get him in here. In the meantime, I would just like to welcome you, and of course, welcome our guests that join us every week for the show. We, of course, encourage our guests to always ask some questions to we encourage our audience to ask questions to our guests.
Oh, yeah.
I had that backwards. You can ask questions to our audience if you want.
I think we should turn it around. We should have you just ask the audience questions, like, I don't know.
What did you eat tonight?
Right.
But yeah, it's Thursday. My brain's a bit fried from the week, so I apologize ahead of time.
Oh, that's okay. I think all our brains are fried.
Right. And it doesn't even have to be Thursday. It's just,
No.
sometimes it's just one of those weeks where it's like, damn you, Monday, damn you,
Towards the end of the year, I feel like towards the end of the year, things start getting a bit bananas. So,
yes, agreed.
Yeah. So with that said, I guess first question right off the bat, I know, I believe if I have this correct, you're from the Bay Area, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and are you still in the Bay Area?
No, I'm in Texas.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Which
many people are moving to Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Californians are going to Texas. Yeah.
And rightfully so. There's some cool spots in Texas. Whereabouts are you?
I live in San Antonio.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I haven't been to San Antonio, but I've heard that there's a similar feel between like Austin and San Antonio. Is that true?
I think it's more similar Austin's kind of like the San Francisco of Texas.
Right?
Yeah.
In a number of ways. And San Antonio, I feel like is more laid back than Austin even.
Really?
Yeah, it's just like, it's bigger and more spread out, but there's less traffic and I don't know. I guess it has more of a Texan feel to it than Austin, to me.
Well, cool. What would you define as a Texan feel? I imagine like, what just happened? What is going on?
He's logged in 4 times.
Oh my. Zeke is hacking into our show. Okay, well, I'm down. We're adaptable.
Yeah, but what would that be? What would that Texan feel be for us
Yeah.
Californians that don't know, you know?
Well, I
Yeah.
guess it's an one huge difference that I see is just the like the pace of everything here is a lot slower in a really nice way. Um,
Yeah.
like not only the traffic, but just people's stress levels seem to be a lot lower, which is nice because being in California, it's like pretty stressful to live, and you can feel it.
Absolutely.
Like you,
It's palpable.
yeah,
Totally. Like I
yeah.
just left the Bay Area because of that. Like,
Oh yeah.
and
Well,
not so much in the last couple of years, but like I felt like for me, I had been like around a lot of and working amongst tech, and just that traffic alone was starting to make me go crazy. It was just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just want to say you're saying this, Ruben, but you moved from the Bay Area to LA,
Oh yeah. I was gonna ask.
and
I have a 25-minute commute with no traffic, man. It's crazy. It's like
really,
Bizarro World. Yeah,
wow.
it's like Bizarro World.
What
It's crazy.
what back streets are you taking?
I
I'm
take the 110, dude, and I get here quick. Great, it's crazy. It's like every day. It's the same both
wow.
ways.
Well, cool. Um, so yeah, Texas. What about the Texan cuisine?
Um, I definitely miss a lot in California of the food and the restaurants because it's certainly not as healthy here.
Ah,
Which I try to be healthy. I like vegetables a lot too. And at a lot of places here, that just isn't really a focus
No,
at
that's not.
all.
That's not the. Yeah, it's not the. Definitely not the flavor profile of Texas.
No, no. I mean,
Not the
there's a lot of
focus.
really, really good food here, and I'm happy that I have found a lot of really good places here in San Antonio.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely I miss that. I miss being able to go to a restaurant and know that there's going to be a salad on the menu or some sort of like green vegetable, and that's just not necessarily the case here. It is delicious, but it's not very healthy.
Yeah.
how long ago did you move to Texas?
It's been just over 3 years
Oh,
now.
okay. And did Buc-ee's blow your mind? Because Buc-ee's blew my mind the
Yes.
first time I saw it. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
I take people to Buc-ee's when they come visit. Like it's a must. If you haven't been to Buc-ee's, you have to see it.
well, and I can understand why people enjoy just using gas for cars because Buc-ee's makes it super fun.
Yeah.
Like if Californians had Buc-ee's, I feel like we wouldn't be, you know, nearly as,
Pushing the electric car so
yeah,
much.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a thought.
But it's
Have
cool.
you have you been to Buc-ee's? Ruben? Is it Ruben?
Yeah. No, I
Yeah,
haven't.
Ruben. Do you know about it? Do your
Not at all.
listeners know about it? Do your
I was
viewers
gonna
know
say
about
I'm probably like 80% of the people that are watching. They're probably like,
it?
okay,
What is Buc-ee's? Yeah.
Is Buc-ee's like Chuck E. Cheese or what is that? You know what I mean?
It's the largest gas station in I think maybe in the
the
world,
world.
if not
The
just in the country.
universe. The
And
universe.
it's crazy. It's like it's a small chain that's here in Texas, and I think a little bit east and north maybe. But it's just like the one that's closest to San Antonio has it's like double rows of gas pumps, which isn't necessarily the fun part, but when you roll up to it, you're just like, whoa, I've never seen so many gas pumps in my life. And then the inside of it is like it's like the size of a super Walmart or
Mhm.
something. And you go in and they've got every snack you could imagine. They've got a barbecue stand in the middle, they've got a bakery and fudge and like all kinds of they got barbecues in there for sale. It's like it's just crazy.
They
They've
got
got
like,
this like the coffee station has like actual whipped cream things and like every flavor of creamer that you want. It's crazy.
And the bathrooms are like these luxury bathrooms where the stall doors go all the way down to the ground, you know?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
there's a camping section, there's a toy section for kids, which is like all toy guns.
There's clothing section.
It's pretty amazing. Um, well, cool. I mean, I'm glad you enjoy Texas. Yeah, the first time I went was maybe a couple years back. I went to Houston, and then I went to Austin, and I went to Galveston, which is really different and nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man, this is cool. Um, so yeah, so may I ask, sans COVID, I take it, moving from California to Texas, I imagine doing music in California and doing music in Texas is probably maybe apples and oranges. I don't know. What do you find there is a difference, making and performing music in Texas?
Well, yes and no. I mean, for me, so I guess the major difference between, I don't know about between California and Texas, but for me, being San Antonio from the Bay Area, is that there's a lot less bands. There's a lot less, the whole scene is a lot more relaxed, I feel like, as far as trying to get shows and trying to not that the Bay Area was bad, it just is like there's so many bands that it's hard to get shows at venues, like if you want to play like Bottom of the Hill or wherever, it's not, but then again, I hate booking myself like with a passion. so that might have something to do with it. The geography is certainly different as far as how far apart the cities are. It's like you can drive, I mean, there's I mean, hey.
There he is.
Sorry, technical difficulties.
It's okay.
It's all good.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm late.
That's
It's okay.
You're good. You're good.
Emily was just telling us about how the music scene is different in Texas than it is in California.
California.
Okay.
Yeah, I would imagine that in Austin it's pretty similar to LA or San Francisco, where it's just there's shows all the time and there's people, there's bands are trying to, although of course in Austin there's like a million venues.
Right.
If you were able to go down to 6th Street, you probably noticed that.
Yeah. When I was there, we went to, we kind of hung out around this other street. It's some street that leads like right up to the state capitol, and I forget the name of it, but it has a bunch of shops and
Red River maybe, or
possibly, yeah. And then at night we went to 6th Street and we went to this like dueling
piano bar or something.
Yeah, dueling piano bar.
Yeah.
And that was maybe the first time in my life that I've actually seen something like that, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Two piano players against each other. Okay, I'm in.
But they just playing like Benny and the Jets, like over and over again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Call and response, Benny and the Jets,
Yeah, and there's like a graffiti park, which was pretty cool. I don't know. Austin was cool. I take it you've probably been to Austin quite a few times. Have you played shows in Austin as well?
I have, but I haven't played a lot since I moved here. Just in general, I haven't really played a ton since I moved here. Again, with the hating not only COVID, but hating booking myself. It's just terrible.
But the interesting thing is, I think nowadays, and definitely tell me if I'm completely wrong on this, but playing shows is fun and it's cool and it's exciting, but it's almost like it's not as much of a necessity to get your music out there than it used to be, whatever, 20 years ago, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I remember
streaming platforms and YouTube and everything, people can access you and know your catalog, without really
Right.
seeing
Totally.
you live.
And
Yeah.
I remember being a teenager and just desperately handing out CDs to people, but now it's just like a Spotify link and then you're done. But
Yeah.
But I feel like at the same time, though, there's like a good chance people don't listen to that. You know what I mean? Even though
Sure.
it's that easy, where they literally just have to click on something on their phone that they're already on. Sometimes they don't
It's
even
true.
listen to that.
Yeah. I feel really conflicted about the way that the music industry has changed. Like, it's in many ways, it's so nice to be able to like have the technology to record yourself and put it out there, like just
Yeah.
basically do whatever you want. But at the same time, there's like no direction as far as how do you make it work for you, like how do you
Right.
actually make it successful. So that's I feel like that's kind of a struggle. Maybe you guys have the answers.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's always been an issue with like monetizing or making yourself, get out there, get the word out or whatever. But now I think it's just like a whole other set of challenges because the market's like even more saturated because people are doing it on their own,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's like there's an infinite number of artists.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. I think about it sometimes about how, like in a perspective that's way beyond any of us here, where it's like, what's the song that is coming out today that 10 years from now everyone's going to remember, like
it's funny you say that because I could think about like 10 years ago and I can't pinpoint a song.
even that. Yeah, it's
right.
like
I
it's
can't
already
pinpoint something
it's
that
already
explains
happened.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think about that when I listen to, because sometimes when I'm driving around, I listen to we have one of those radio stations that's everywhere. That's like the
top 40 or something? Or?
Yeah, like, but from all eras,
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
where it'll be like Blondie, and then it'll be Billy Joel or something, just like random, and then it'll be like a funk song or something, and those are songs that everybody knows, and I think that's kind of what makes me start thinking about it, thinking what's today's song like.
Right.
I don't know if there is one or if it's just that I'm not paying attention enough,
I'll tell you that at work, we have a top 40 that's a current top 40. And I'll tell you, there are only like 8 songs because I hear them 20 times a day. They play it over and over and over again.
That's the worst.
The same 8 songs, yeah.
Is it good at all, though? Is there anything good?
You know what? After the 20th time, like the 7th day of the week, I'm like, yeah, I want to go shoot myself. Like, this is crazy. Like, it's just too much of this song,
Yeah.
With the alternative station we have here in the Bay Area, they still play a lot of Pearl Jam, a lot of Green Day, which is cool. But you want to hear, up and coming bands, giving the new bands a chance to hear fresh.
Totally.
Yeah, because I still love Pearl Jam, but I think I heard way too much of them already.
Yeah, I think about that too. It's like when they play, it's supposed to be like a modern alternative rock station, and they're playing Pearl Jam, which is great and everything, but it's like that's like almost 30 years, right?
Yeah.
It is, I think, 30
Almost
years
30
already.
years.
Yeah.
Well, what I think is interesting, specifically Pearl Jam, and like let's just say the Nirvana, just the grunge pillars, right? The 4 big grunge
Seattle
bands,
right?
I feel like there is something that resonates still with people with those bands, but at the same time, if we're talking about like the big labels signing bands like that, it's almost like labels would not even bother with the insurance liability of, let's say, hiring bringing on a band like Nirvana or Pearl Jam, like it I don't see those kind of risks anymore, I guess, with
Yeah.
and it's
I know
unfortunate.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
it's
you know,
really
it's
unfortunate.
funny because a lot of that business has moved to like a, what do they call it, 360 deal or whatever, you know, where it's like trying to monetize like a lot of other things, like,
Everything.
yeah, right, everything, yeah, commercials, movies, anything, your own book that you released, you
Yeah.
know, that's, you
Product
know,
placement and the music video.
right, right. I mean,
Yeah,
all that stuff, exactly.
I was thinking about that recently too, about how like literally earlier this week, I was thinking about how there used to be, I think I was listening to a 90s playlist that I don't do very often, but it was like as I was listening to it, because like in the 90s I was really just into Green Day and punk and pop punk. Like I didn't listen to anything else, although I heard these songs on MTV and on the radio and stuff. But so listening to this playlist, I was like, wow, it's kind of crazy how there's like Radiohead, and then there's Mazzy Star and Garbage and like Sneaker Pimps and all these just like the music
Man, you like
is
just named like all the stuff like I loved from that era. It's
Sneaker
crazy.
pimps, yeah.
Love the sneaker pimp.
Radiohead, like all of those, like Mazzy, that's crazy.
What
but
up,
it's
no
like
Portishead?
it's and Portishead, yeah. And
That
it's
just
like
tells you like
all
that
over the
algorithm
place,
is
right?
that algorithm is hella legit because you just totally named like a bunch of shit that I like from back then.
Well, I was thinking about how awesome it is how all that music was so good and so different from each other,
Yeah.
and unique and weird, and that's what the labels and the A&R guys were actually looking for. Like they were out like scouting for the next
Yeah.
like weird random band that they thought they could make into a big band, like Nine Inch Nails, or like just
Right.
so different from anything. And
Yeah.
Or even like I feel like even like Weezer when they first came on the scene, when
Totally.
they had like the sweater song, I was like, what the hell is this? I'm like,
Yeah.
this is I kind of like this. I'm like, what
Yeah.
the hell? This is random, you know?
Yeah, like everything that was popular was completely different from each other.
It
And,
was.
well, for
yeah.
the most part. But it's like that's not there's nobody doing that. There's nobody going like, let's find something unique and make it huge, just because the whole system has changed.
Right.
Well,
And
it was magical back then when you had like music videos too that were super quirky. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I used to get so excited about that. That's what made me want to become a musician. I loved seeing all the bright colored, crazy, wacky ideas, and some of them were horrible, and I loved them for that,
Yeah.
I remember they always used to play music videos right after school.
Yeah.
I always thought I was so cool, going the moment I get home, turning on whatever.
Like the countdown.
Yeah, like the countdown,
Like
and
TRL and stuff like
it was
that.
always
Yeah.
such a big deal, right? It was always such
Yeah.
a big thing. Yeah, just a different time.
It's true. It's true. I mean, even I remember like late at night, like I'd be hanging out with my friends, like playing and stuff, like playing kickball or something. And then I'd run home to go watch 120 minutes or like Headbangers Ball, and I'd be like, yeah, that's awesome. Like
Yeah.
I'd be stoked whenever I saw like my favorite videos,
But yeah, I mean, it's such a interesting question. I think for anybody that's sort of involved in music is is it better now or was it better then? And I imagine the answer is basically both and neither, right?
Totally.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah.
I mean, I'm really happy that I can actually discover all these new bands and not have to feel like there's just this filter that filters whatever tens of thousands into whatever 20 things that I can listen to, right? But then I don't know, the fanfare of it all, right? The cultural kind of the communal interest in something very specific at a specific time. I think that's sort of been
It's been lost, right?
ripped down. Yeah. I don't know.
That's funny. I remember being like 16 years old, and when I was 16 years old, I was really into Korn, right? It was when they came out with the Issues album. I remember taking a bus in the rain to Target and then running across the parking lot with a buddy of mine to go get the Korn album they were selling it a week before it was released. Someone told us, and like everybody was like, rushing to go get it. And like nothing makes me do that anymore. Like I don't feel that way about anything anymore. You know, it's crazy. Like they're like, hey, the new whatever's out. Oh, cool. I'll click on that and listen to it while I'm driving to work or something. You know, it's different. I don't know. It sucks.
You wouldn't do that for
Crazy.
Billie Eilish, run across the parking lot.
No comment, dude. No comment.
We have a question from Urban Reyes Ozuna. And the question is,
Oh, yay.
how far are we with recording for the new album?
Oh man. Well, I've made progress, but I'm still not like halfway done writing it, I wouldn't say. I still don't know totally what I'm doing as far as how I will record it and release it. I've been recording myself and demoing myself, and I have enough to actually release it. But at the same time, I don't really know. I don't know a lot of studios out here. I don't know a lot of, recording engineers or producers or anything. So it's all kind of up in the air.
Mm.
Well,
If that answers the question.
I mean, it happens when it happens. I mean, I think that's cool that it sounds like you're taking great care into, building up really excellent songs. So
I'm trying.
yeah.
This is the first time that I've written completely by myself, because what you've heard on Way to Go was when I had Jason on guitar. So we started as a 2-piece, and we wrote the songs and together and recorded them all. And but he's not in the band anymore, so it's just me. And my music career is fairly long, and I've written all my own lyrics, but I've never sat down and just written an entire song start to finish and been like, yes, I'm saying this is done. Like I don't have anybody to really work on ideas with. So it's been tough, but I do have 2 songs completely written, which is like really big for me.
Oh, cool.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's really awesome. I mean, you hear about musicians doing that, and I mean, some really interesting things come out of that. I don't know if you're familiar. I don't know if you're really like hugely familiar with like David Bowie, but there's
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I don't know. Go ahead.
Everybody is, I guess, to an extent.
But there is back in the 70s, late 70s, he wrote this album called Low. And it was literally the first time he had ever done that, the first time he had ever put together everything on his own album. And then it turned out to be like one of the first, I guess, one of the first new wave albums ever made, right?
Oh, interesting. I'm gonna have to go listen to it.
Yeah.
That's my favorite album.
What's that?
Oh, that's my favorite Bowie album.
Oh, yeah, dude. Cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, he did that completely on his own. We have another question for you. This time it's from our good pal E-Man Rodriguez. Any cool road stories from Warped Tour?
Let's see. Cool road stories. That question always makes me go blank, because I did so much touring that it's hard to think about, what story. Like it's like they all leave my mind when I'm asked about a tour story. Let's see. Maybe if I just start talking about Warped Tour, I'll think of something good. We did do the entire tour in 2003. We got to do the whole summer, which was crazy because there was a stretch where we had, it was like 10 days of shows in a row, and then 2 days off, and then 10 more shows on Warped Tour. And on the 2 days off, we did shows. Like we did club shows with Poison the Well on our off days.
Poison the Well, sick. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was like we did this stretch of like 22 shows in a row, and it was just crazy. We got to go on a bus, which I don't think we would have survived if we didn't have a bus that year, because of the way that the drives were. Like it would be like LA to Portland the next day, and then San
That's
Diego
crazy.
the next day. It was like
That's
super like
nuts.
just
I've driven LA to Portland. That is nuts.
yeah.
It's crazy.
What is it,
Yeah.
like 20 hours or something? What is that?
16, I think. It was something crazy like that, man. Yeah.
Something that would really like there were so many drives that would be impossible to do if you had to drive yourself overnight, and
Right,
just
right.
like in an uncomfortable van. But we couldn't afford to have our own bus, so we split it with Rise Against for the first part, and then with Rufio for the second part. And it
Wow.
was super fun to just like
I bet.
like just
Yeah.
basically living with another band for 3 weeks or however long each section was.
Like, as long as you're getting along with the other band, I can
Yeah.
imagine if you're not getting along with them, I can imagine that could be a hard situation.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine. We really, really got along with Rise Against a lot, and we got to tour with them. They had us support on one of their tours later on, like in 2005, I think.
Wow.
I can say on Warped Tour was one of my best, like, what would you say? When people ask me if I've ever had issues being a female in a punk band on tour,
Mhm.
I haven't had a ton. Like it had been pretty great, but Warped Tour, I think the first Warped Tour that we played, which was 2001, we had sticky passes, like the little, the ones you stick on yourself, and it says artist or band or whatever.
Mhm.
And we had just played our set like half an hour before, and I was out in the crowd, like, I don't know, meeting people. And I tried to go backstage, and the security guard wouldn't let me. And it was a woman, and she was like, the guys were in front of me. They went through, they showed her their pass. It was fine. I showed her my pass, and she was like, "Mm-mm, you're not coming in here."
No.
I was like, "What? Why?" And she was like, "You're not in a band. You're not in a band. You can't come back here." And I was like, "I look at my pass. It's right here on me. It says band. How can you not? This is my band." And the guys are like, "Yeah, she's in the band." And she just wasn't letting me in.
Wow.
And then I'm standing there like trying to get backstage, really like blown away that she won't let me back there, even though I have the credentials to do it. And a girl came up right then and was like, "Oh my gosh, I just saw your set. You were so good. I love your band, blah, blah, blah. Like sign an autograph for me." And I was doing it looking at the security guard like, "Are you seeing this? Better let me back there." And then she had to.
Wow.
In your face.
In your face. That's what I was gonna say.
That's funny.
Damn, that's crazy.
So on that note, the questions are rolling in now like crazy.
Oh,
great.
We have a question from Mario Lugo. What's the most difficult thing you had to face as a musician in the music industry?
Ooh. I would say, well, I mean, in the music industry, aside from just now being somewhat lost in the music industry and not knowing what to do with it at all, I would say in Tsunami Bomb days, it was just navigating the way that labels, the relationship between labels and managers and booking agents
Hmm.
and publicists and all of these things and the way that they work together, and producers, like record producers, we had a really hard time with our first full length, with recording it. There were a lot of issues with it. And then after our second record, we had issues with our label because there was a lot of trust lost along the way. So it like got really messy, and kind of led to our breakup in a way, because we were kind of like, how do we do this? Like, how do we work with people that we enjoy working with and that we trust, like in all of these different areas. It was getting too hard.
Right.
I guess that sounds kind of like general, the hardest thing was dealing with the industry itself, but
well, right, adapting into it, you know what I mean, going into it, and then all these people telling you this is what to do, this is what to do, and I'm sure a lot of that information contradicted itself, right? And then that's
totally
crazy. Yeah, no, I could totally get that, right? It's overwhelming if you think about it,
Yeah, and I kind of feel like you have to be either a certain type of person or a certain strength within the group to be able to navigate that and handle it. Because I'm remembering when we broke up, it was basically, I mean, like, I was a singer, right? So so our bass player Matt was the closest person to me in the band, and he had decided to quit. And so I was like the way that the relationship was with the band and with our management and all that, I was like, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it without this one person that's like keeping me strong. And also our tour manager had quit too, which was a huge deal because he like did everything for us on tour, like helped us so much on tour. So our tour manager had quit. And then Matt, our bass player, was quitting, and I couldn't handle it. And I remember telling our booking agent, that up, and he was asking me why, and I was like, well, this guy quit, and I just don't feel, strong enough with the people that are left. And he was like, just replace them all. Just get rid of
they're
them
disposable
all.
They're all disposable.
Yeah.
you're the spotlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Like, that's the last thing I would do right now. Like,
I mean, like, that
Wow.
just shows you that isn't, you're not aligned with the way they think, and it's probably not a good fit to be working with that person giving you that advice, right?
Totally.
Like, I've had that in jobs where, like, I have a buddy, and it's like, as long as he's here, I'm still gonna work here. I'll put up with this crap,
Yeah.
But the moment he's out, like, all right, where are we going? Let's go. Let's go find work somewhere else. Like, let's get out of here.
Yeah, it's exactly like that, because it's hard. And if you feel like you're surrounded by people that you're not on the same wavelength with, and you're like, what am I doing?
Why am I doing this? This isn't even fun anymore. Right. Yeah. You're like in the trenches with them every day, and it's like you have each other's back, it's you guys versus the world,
Totally. And it makes your relationship stronger and like more awesome and great, and like it'll last forever. But when that ends, it's like, what do you do?
Right.
Wow. Well, with that said, I got to apologize to the audience because your comments disappear for me after a while. I don't know why.
Oh, my answers are too long.
No. It's just Facebook being silly. But there was one person that asked, and I apologize because I forget who it is, but they asked, what was your most defining moment as a musician?
Oh, wow. That's a really That's a really hard question. I don't think I've ever been asked that question before.
And also, by the way, if these questions are getting too weird, let
No,
us
no,
know.
it's not weird. It just I want it to be interesting and I want to have an answer for that. Let's see. My most defining moment as a musician. Well, I don't know about defining. I don't know about defining. There are a few things that I have done in my career that made me feel like they were kind of magical, like some moments like, wow, like Warped Tour. Warped Tour, I can't remember what year, but there was a time when we got to play on the main stage and it was just huge. It was massive. And it was like overwhelming, like the feeling of being like, wow, I'm playing my songs to like literally an ocean of people, and there's people as far as I can see. Like and it was in LA. It was the LA
Cool.
Warped Tour.
You're
It
like,
was
what do I
so
do with
big.
my hands?
Yeah.
Right? The whole time.
Yes, exactly. So there's that kind of thing. There's also when we got to tour with like anytime we got to tour with a band that I was already a fan of was just huge for me. Like the first tour that we did that was like that was with a bigger band was when we toured with oh, now I can't remember. I keep thinking Rise Against because we played with them. They're awesome. But Living End, the Living End. I don't know if you guys remember
Cool.
that. They
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
had
yeah.
like the one hit.
Yep.
But it was right around that time that we got to tour with them, and our whole band was really into that record. So we were just like, what? They want us to open on their tour? Like, that's so amazing. And then later we got to tour with Bouncing Souls, which was a band that I had been a fan of since high school. So that was another one that was like, I get to see this. I get to like now be friends with these people and watch them play every night if I want to, and it just made me feel really hashtag blessed, I guess you could say.
That's
Just
cool.
like just really appreciative of life.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
This is a silly question, but I'm going to ask you a question anyways.
Silly questions are great.
Did you ever come into a situation where you're touring with a band, right? Like say Rufio or Rise Against, you guys are sharing a bus and you do your set and you're kind of tired, you need to go unwind and you don't catch their set. So have you ever had that like awkward, like, so what did you think tonight? And you're like, oh yeah, you guys were super duper, or like, or would you actually admit like, hey, I totally went to Wiener Schnitzel, I didn't catch your set, sorry,
Well, on tour, like when you're touring with the same band, there's definitely no expectation that the other band is going to watch you every night.
Mhm.
Luckily, like everyone understands that if you're on tour for like, 3 weeks together or longer, or even just 2 weeks, you're going to have plenty of chances to see each other's set,
each other,
right.
right.
So yeah, but there have been lots of times where we would be playing and there'd be a local opening band and they would be expecting us to watch them or specifically me to watch them. So after I realized that, like once, because, we started out there too, but I didn't realize it till we were like headlining the shows or playing better shows, that they were expecting to get some feedback at the end of the night.
Yeah.
And when you're on tour, it's like, yeah, like sometimes, especially if you're headlining, it's like, well, that's kind of when I would need to eat food. So I don't eat right before we play, like maybe I eat during the opening band, but
Yeah.
it didn't take too long for me to realize that I should probably at least watch like a song by the opening band. Like I should try to catch some of it just so that I can say something to them when they come up to me later, because it definitely happened. Like I'd see it in people's faces because I'm really bad at lying. So when somebody would say, you know, what'd you think of our set? Like, did you like it or whatever? The times that I was honest and said, oh, I missed it, like I wasn't here at all, it was like their face would just drop,
They're
like,
crushed.
yes. They're like,
And
this
like,
was my one chance to
or
get.
like you lie and you're like, oh yeah, that third song, man, it's stuck in my head. It's totally stuck in my head.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I definitely had to get creative sometimes with if the band was really bad and I watched them and then they asked what I thought, I'd have to, like, it was actually kind of a fun game that I would play with myself, thinking of what I was going to say that was positive, like I'd be like, oh man, your bass player was just jamming, like just going for it up there.
There's this
Yeah.
show called 30 Rock. I don't know if you ever heard of it with Tina Fey.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, but I've been told that I should.
It's a good show. I mean, it's not for everybody, but there's like this actress that's her friend. She's a producer, and like they think back to when they were friends way before when she was like a stage tech or whatever. And as she's talking, she's like, "What did you think of my performance?" And she'd be like, "The lighting was really good," or "They could really hear you."
Yes,
like,
yes. I
yeah.
totally, yeah. It's exactly like that. Like, wow,
Yeah.
that reverb on your
Her
vocals,
reverb was
so
killer. Focusing on other things, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if there were like constructive things that I, could say about something, like, man, maybe you should cut the reverb back a little bit. I don't know. I would say stuff like that too, but
Mhm.
like no opening band wants to hear like what would I even say? Like, I don't know.
Well, you always say the default thing. Yeah, man, you guys rocked. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what if I just really didn't like them?
You just nod disapprovingly.
Yeah.
Hey Zeke, I got a favor to ask.
Yep, yep.
Our good buddy Mark Pearson asked a question. Do you happen to see that? Because
Yeah. I was
Okay.
waiting for that. He was asking about a promo picture that that Emily took of with Tripping Daisy. It's a Tripping Daisy shirt. He wanted to know the connection between you and Tripping Daisy.
Oh, well, there's really no connection aside from that when, like, back in the 90s, that's another one of those bands that was kind of random, and they had that single that I liked, and I had their record, and actually got to see them play way back then too. And then the shirt was just like a used shirt that I thought was awesome. So I wore it, and I really like it a lot. I think the shirt is actually probably from the 90s because it's like that style kind of, and it's all thin.
Nice.
Yeah, cool.
Pretty retro.
Yeah.
I did actually get a question from Urban online earlier. He messaged us. He was asking about if you have a favorite song from each act that you were in.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. That's tough too, because I mean, I'm sure you guys feel the same way as musicians. Like, you don't really think of your own stuff as like, this is what I listen to, like, you don't really, I don't know. At least I don't like go back through my records and go like, yeah, this is really good or whatever. It just isn't what I listen to at all.
You like just bring a bunch of friends over to your house and play your own music and just look at them.
Yeah.
It's like the reaction.
Like,
Just
what do you
smile,
think?
like the whole time.
Yeah.
Lean in.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That is exactly what has never happened in my life. So for Tsunami Bomb, I would say, I mean, I mainly just wrote lyrics. I had input on the arrangements and some stuff musically, but The ones that stick out to me, for an old one, I really like Not Forever. I think that was around the time that I felt like I was starting to write better than I was before. Like I was writing more interestingly and really like pushing myself vocally. And then one of our last songs that I really liked also was Jigsaw, on our last record, which I think it was kind of straying a little bit away from what we had been doing, everything we did prior. Like that was kind of the outlier song. Also, Swimming Through Molasses, similar thing. Like I kind of like the songs that are sort of outside. I mean, I like them all in a way because I wrote them all. So they all have some sort of meaning to me and they all have a place in my heart. But yeah, I think the ones that are a little bit different are the ones that really stick with me. For action design, definitely Still Standing, which is the last song that we released. Like it's the B-side on the last single that we wrote. I don't really know why. I just feel like it's a really good song. And then Survival Guide. Survival Guide's harder to say since it's all like current for me. Yeah, I don't know if I can even answer for Survival Guide. I feel like I'd have to listen to it to really know. Oh well, okay. If I had to pick one, I would say Shrouded in Steel, just because it's really fun to sing. I love playing it live, and I love how dramatic it is. Like going from the super like stripped down dramatic intro into like a song, an electronic song with a beat and guitars and stuff.
Cool.
Hopefully that answers Urban's question, not too much. Hopefully that didn't take too long.
It was like the behind the scenes VH1 kind of deal. That was cool. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad it wasn't boring.
No.
I did happen to see some question about someone from Ireland going. Did you see that, Zeke? What?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm trying to look for that right now, actually.
Okay. There was a silly question about how you mentioned someone from Ireland going to your concert. I probably got that all wrong.
Is
It does say, did that guy from Ireland that you mentioned in the Tsunami Bomb DVD concert really went to that concert?
Oh,
That's a deep cut.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's from Mario.
Yeah. Also, we only filmed one DVD, and yeah, there's a guy named Lou who went as Luby, and he was one of our like, you know, back in the day we had a message board where that like this community formed of people from all over the world who were, it was so cool. It's like I still remember a good number of the people that were very active on our message board, and he was one of them. And he was yeah, he came to the show in Pomona from Ireland. So yes.
Wow. I think that's like us with Mondo and like Jeff. You know what I mean? Those people just stand out to you when you interact so much with them. You know, it's like you become friends through the interwebs, you know?
The
Yeah.
interwebs.
The interwebs. I don't know. I feel like our generation should say interwebs.
I think we should.
We should. That's cool though. That's a cool deep cut question from some of your content. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is always the awkward moment of the show. It has been my duty to be the time cop of the show. Always. Oh, my internet connection is unstable. Am I back? I'm back. Okay.
Yeah, it
yeah,
sounded
you are
weird for a
back.
minute.
So I'm the time cop of the show, and that means that I gotta bring the show to an end, unfortunately.
Aw.
And it's a bummer because I feel like we could have talked to you for like another 5 hours. I would have been down for that.
Yeah, me too.
We'll just have another 5 episodes with you as a guest.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll do one for each one of the bands that you were in.
Yeah.
I just want to say an honor and a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you very much for joining us. I know
Oh, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
I know the three of us are
Yeah.
playing it cool, but like we're absolute geeks. And really it means a lot to us having you on the show. So thank you. With that said, for the next minute or two, if you want to go ahead and just one last shout out to the audience for stuff you're working on, stuff everybody has to look forward to in the future. Granted, COVID kind of put the brakes on a lot of stuff, but
Shows, yeah.
But yeah, if you want to just go ahead and tell people where they can find you and what you're up to.
Yeah, so you can find me online. Most of my handles are survival guide without any vowels. So on Instagram, Facebook, and everywhere, you can search SRVVLGD. You'll find me. Also, I didn't get to talk about it, but a big thing that I spend a lot of my time on, that I'm splitting my time between two things right now. I'm trying to write my record, which I'm working on gradually and going to release eventually. And I'm working on my Patreon, which is, most people probably know it's like a subscription type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I do a lot of stuff on there. Like I do a new cover song every month.
Oh, cool.
That's a request. So like I've been just covering all these songs.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's really fun. And I've learned a lot about, it's really helped me learn a lot about recording and about songwriting too. I recommend it. Like my list of covers is so long now, and it's really fun.
Wow,
So
cool.
there's that. And then, I do like a live stream every month and send out holiday cards and all kinds of fun stuff. So that is also, I think you can just search survival guide, or you can do the same thing with no vowels and find me there. And that's about, I'm trying to get set up to do an online show, which I know every band has already done like a million times over now throughout COVID, but I still haven't perfected my setup. So that is a plan, and I'll be playing, whenever I do, I'll be playing my new songs as
Awesome.
well. So
Very
yeah.
cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah,
Are
and I
you
was
on
thinking
Deezer?
I might maybe I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was thinking I might maybe do a Tsunami Bomb cover too, like at the live stream, just
Cool.
for fun.
Very cool.
I don't know.
Well, we'll be there.
Cool.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Were you gonna ask me something?
Yeah. Just typical question. Are you on Deezer? I always ask everybody that.
Oh,
Are you on Deezer?
I think so. Oh, you mean am I personally? Or my music?
Yes, both.
No, I've never used Deezer in my life, but my music, I believe, is on Deezer because I have distribution through DistroKid, and I'm pretty sure they're.
We do too, and it's Deezer's one of
Okay.
them. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I
do
just
you
don't
recommend
I
it?
think
What's the
Deezer
deal? What's it
sounds
about?
silly. Deezer sounds silly to me, so I
I
always
think-
ask everybody on here, even if they're not musicians,
Oh.
are you
Well,
on Deezer? You know?
and it's like no one I know of uses Deezer.
Deezer,
ever.
no.
Like no, I
No.
It's
I
I'm
was
like, how does that
I-
exist?
I was hoping
How does
that
it
you
exist?
used it so I could ask you what it's all about and whether I
You
should
know
use
what?
it.
Touche. I'm gonna have to go subscribe to Deezer now because I always talk about them.
Yeah,
Deezer.
I have
Oh,
no
man.
idea.
I just want to add something. I saw you years ago at the DNA Lounge in San Francisco, and I was
yeah.
I was blown away by your sound. I still remember.
Which show?
It was
Like
a
Survival
DNA.
Guide?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
And you left them. it was such a big sound for what the equipment that you had because you were just on a keyboard.
Mhm.
But it was awesome. So
Thank
you know,
you.
I've been a fan since of Survival Guide. So yeah.
Thank you so much. It means a lot to me since most of my fans are from Tsunami Bomb days. So it's really nice to hear somebody coming to a Survival Guide show and being into it.
Zeke's like, wait, what? Who's Tsunami Bomb? No. 'Cause I love Survival Guide, right? That's cool.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, we're going to say farewell to Emily, and then we're going to do something on this show that the band never does. And I don't even think I've told Ruben and Zeke about this yet. But Emily, again, thank you very much for being on the show. We hope
Thanks
to
so much
have
for having me.
our honor and
Our
pleasure.
pleasure.
We hope to
Yeah.
have you back one of these days soon. So
Yeah, totally. Let's do it.
cool. All right. And then for our audience, we do have a very special announcement for you. This is something we never do on the show, but we figure since we have a new single coming out next week, and I believe we don't have this show next week because, you know, the holidays, we would like to just say we're coming out with a new single next week. And it is going to be Bomb Slammin'. We're doing it with our good friend from this act down in Ecuador called The Pill Is You. And
Lokes.
so we're very excited for you to hear that. You'll trust me, we'll be blasting you with a ton of information within this next week. But stay tuned. I mean, this is the first time the band has released any new music since Celestina, which by now has been a long time.
It's a classic now, by now, right?
Yeah, it's a classic by now. But thanks everybody again. Thanks for hanging with the Frans. We definitely appreciate everybody who hangs with us every Thursday night from 8:30 to 9:30. And we won't see you next week, I don't believe, but we will see you the week after. And in the meantime, we'll just be a band doing band stuff. So, all right. Bye, everybody.
Very cool. See you guys later.